Welcome back to New Rockstars. It's me, MT, and as the day that Marvel Eternals will enter our eyeballs fast approaches, we've all been able to glean more and more from Eternals promo material that, in the MCU's past, Sprite the Eternal used her mastery of illusion magic to entertain the ancient Babylonians with stories of her and her eternal brothers and sisters that would become the root for several of humanity's early mythologies. So we here at New Rockstars thought it would be fun to do a little history lesson to try to connect all of these Eternals to the real-world history that they secretly inspired in the MCU. So let's dig on in, my beautiful nerd babies, and please keep in mind this didn't happen in real life. The Eternals aren't real. Mythology was not inspired by the Eternals, but let's just pretend it was. And hey, before we start, I've got to ask you guys, did you ever hear the ancient Greek tragedy of Darth Ikaris the Fool? I thought so, because it's very popular. But the myth story goes that after Daedalus and his son Ikaris are trapped in this super huge and impossible maze that Daedalus built for King Minos of Crete by that very king himself, Daedalus made him and his dumbass son Ikaris wax wings so that they could fly over and away from the impossible maze, because not even Daedalus himself knew how to make it out of that confusing ass zigzaggy maze. I bet it was a corn maze. I can never find my way out of those. I was once lost in a corn maze for several days and I lost all my hair out of worry. However, despite his father deliberately telling him not to fly too high or low, Ikaris said, "Father, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky." But the son said, I believe you can dive, bitch. And cooked Ikaris's wings faster than a KFC drive-thru, causing Ikaris to touch the ocean instead, causing Daedalus to become Cry-Dallas. Some very sad stuff. It's very sad. And in the Marvel comics, this tragedy is adapted in a very unique way because Ikaris the Eternal is actually the Cry-Dallas of Earth 616. Because fun fact, Marvel has never actually revealed the original name of the Eternal Ikaris because he named himself Ikaris after his son Ikaris, who died while using a flying device that the father Ikaris made for his son before he could get a chance to teach his son how to use it. And so the Eternal Ikaris calls himself Ikaris out of guilt and remembrance for his son, leaving his original name to be a complete mystery to this day. And hey, before we continue, this video is brought to you by The Ridge. The Ridge wallet is light, sleek, and industrial, and it's designed to fit in your front pocket, unlike those bulky back pocket wallets that we won't talk about. Stupid old school wallets, what are you doing? The Ridge wallet holds up to 12 cards and still has room for cash. The Ridge wallet comes in over 30 styles and colors, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium, which is what I got right here. And there's even an 18-karat gold-plated wallet, which I think Aisha and the other shiny sovereign folks from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 would probably appreciate because they're all very gold. And I really like how strong and sturdy the Ridge wallet feels. Like, this is not a product that is going to bend or crack if you sit on it weird or drop it on the ground. Like, literally, check this out. I'm trying to bend it and it's not happening. The only thing that's going to break is my will to break this wallet. It's literally so very sturdy. And every Ridge wallet comes with a lifetime guarantee, and they'll let you test drive it for 45 days and send it back for a full refund if you do not love it. And it's got 30,000 5-star reviews, so you'll probably love it. 30,000 5 stars is like 150,000 stars. That's a lot of stars. And Ridge also has great backpacks and travel bags with RFID blocking pockets and optional device charging batteries. So get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/newrockstars. That is ridge.com/newrockstars, and be sure to use the code NEWROCKSTARS, so please find the link in the video's description. And next up, we have the matter-transmuting Eternal Sersi, who could be linked to the real-world myth of Homer's The Odyssey, the prequel to Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. That checks out.
And according to the Greek myth, Sersi was the demigod daughter of the sun god Helios and the ocean nymph Perse, who had the power to turn people into animals against their will, which is pretty uncool to pretty much everyone that doesn't write Sonic fanfiction, which included all of the hero Odysseus's friends during the course of his quest. Sersi turned all of his friends into pigs just because it was something to do. How rude! But not Odysseus, because the Greek god Hermes had Odysseus protected from Sersi's magic with that good magic herb, man. And because Odysseus knew his way around the ladies, he actually ended up convincing Sersi to unpickify his homies, getting her to fall in love with him, and then letting him and all of his homies live with her for free for a year. That is the most gangster shit that I have ever heard in my life. He went from friends who are swine to 69. And fun fact, this story from Homer's Odyssey is actually canon in the Marvel Comics, with Marvel's Sersi hilariously recounting how she turned all of Odysseus' friends into pigs because they all lived like slobs in Eternals number 4 from 1976. But hey, as long as we're talking about Eternals number 4's, let's talk about the Eternals number 4 from 2006, where we learned that the Eternal Sprite actually affected human history in her own hilarious way by being the very inspiration for the character of Peter Pan. True story. Well, true fake story, because it didn't actually happen. Because Sprite was bitten by whatever annoying bug Loki was bit with, Sprite's love for mischief was as eternal as her youth, and instead of helping humanity from the shadows like her family does, she literally flew in front of the future Peter Pan author James Matthew Barry and did a bunch of sparkly magic shit just to show off, when she's literally supposed to be in hiding. But hey, in her defense, if I could create illusions and fly, I'd be flexing that shit too. Like, what the fuck? Leading James Marvin Barry to realize that this Sprite had that good new sound that he was looking for. And moving on, the Eternal Gilgamesh is, of course, linked to the ancient Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh, which is like the oldest ever written story with records dating as far back as 2000 BCE. The story tells of an arrogant demigod warrior named Gilgamesh who fought a bunch of mythical creatures with his best friend Enkidu before starting on a quest to try and conquer death after his bestie Enkidu dies. But while I'm sure that MCU Eternal Gilgamesh might be good in the whole immortality department, I think MCU Gilgamesh might find his kindred warrior spirit within Thena, as they seem to have a bit of a competitive relationship. And hey, speaking of Thena, I'm sure you can all guess that the Eternal Thena is linked to the Greek warrior goddess of wisdom, Athena, born from the very skull of Zeus himself, which somehow still seems a lot less painful than human childbirth. And with Athena also being the Greek goddess of war, it does make a lot of sense for Sprite stories of Athena, warrior princess, to be mistaken for a Greek gut-stabbing goddess. The Greek god of fire and the forge, Hephaestus, would find his roots in the Eternals' weaponsmith, Phastos. And Phastos was always cooking up only the finest weapons for the Eternals of Olympia, much like Hephaestus mythologically did for both humanity and his fellow Greek gods. And I have a feeling that MCU Phastos will probably be nudging humanity along with technological tools and advancements in a similar vein. And the tales of the Eternal Ajak has apparently been mistaken for the mythological figure of Quetzalcoatl by the ancient Aztecs in the comics. And with Ajak being the leader of the Eternals' effort to guide humanity along the ways of agriculture as well as protecting them from deviant threats, MCU Ajak being like morphed into the Aztec god of vegetation is very much in line with the motherly and healing tone that the Eternals trailer have framed around the character. And Ajak in the Marvel comics also finds her roots in the ancient Greek mythological hero Ajax the Great, who was great at murdering his enemies. And while this isn't a Greek god, the Eternal Kingo is most likely connected to the Babylonian god named Kingu, who was given a magical tablet of destinies by his godly godmother Tiamat. A tablet Kingu wore as a breastplate that gave him great power in battle. And hey, since Kingo was created by the Celestials, I'm very curious if Tiamat, the dreaming celestial, has anything to do with Kingo's powers. Like, I wonder if Tiamat was directly involved in Kingo's creation. I think that'd be really cool. And finally, we have Makkari the Speedster, who the ancient Romans would eventually refer to as their god of communication and travel, Mercury. And Mercury was a super fast running messenger for the gods, which is weird to me how MCU Ajak is the celestial communicator and not Makkari, but I have this feeling that this might actually probably change. I feel like Ajak will lose her celestial communication powers by the end of this movie and be given to Makkari like it happens in the Marvel comics at one point. But that is really it for all the Eternals that have really made a dent in history like that. The only Eternal that I didn't mention was the Eternal Druid, the only one of these 10 Eternals who hasn't made a really big shakeup over the course of human history until his mind-controlling plots and plans in the modern day. So he doesn't really make this list, unfortunately, but I'm still very curious how the Eternals film will adapt him within Russian history, as that character is extremely Russian in the comics, like very Russian. And maybe as Natasha's father, because in the comics his name is Ivan Druig and Natasha's father was named Ivan, so who knows? Who knows? I don't know. It could be pretty cool. But that is it for our list of Eternals and the secret real-world histories that they inspired. How else do you guys think the Eternals may have influenced the progression of humanity? Let us know in the comment section below, my nerd babies. Please be sure to hit up newrockstarsmerch.com so you can find all our cool nerd-inspired merch. And please be sure to follow me at MasterTainment if you want to see me tweet some weird shit. But more importantly, go hit up New Rockstars on Twitter and YouTube. And when you do on YouTube, make sure to hit that notification bell so you get notifications whenever we upload video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.